twee, a two. Yeah, that thing. Welcome to the Optimistic Dater Podcast, a podcast all about dating in today's world. Today we're going to focus on good quality partners and what to look out for. One of your hosts, Sam, with your other host, Julia.
Hey guys.
And today is all about good quality partners. We've had a couple of podcasts in a row of focusing on the negative stuff, so we kind of want to focus a little bit more on the positive things. So first thing, um, you're looking to get into a relationship. You're getting out in the dating scene. Are you secure enough within yourself to actually do that? That's a big question you got to ask yourself.
Yeah, I think it's definitely important to be secure within yourself before you start dating because I think it's easy for us to nitpick our partners if we're insecure about things or find faults in what our partners are doing if we're insecure, if we don't have trust, if we don't have good communication, those kinds of things. So I think definitely being secure within yourself and knowing that you can trust somebody else and having that ability to trust somebody else is really important before getting into a relationship.
Yeah, yeah. You gotta be confident in yourself and what you're looking for, and kind of go into it open-minded, but not project onto others like maybe some insecurities that you might have that you haven't dealt with. Um, we've talked about red flags before. Excuse me, what? Um, Flaws and stuff like that. Um, you gotta find that balance of what you're willing to put up with uh, going into a new relationship. You can't just be like, no, none of this is gonna work, because then obviously you're gonna be lonesome.
Yeah, I think it's important to understand that everybody has flaws and that nobody is perfect. And if you go into things thinking that you're going to find this perfect person that is like the perfect person that it fits into this one box for everybody, then you're going to be disappointed. So, I mean, one thing that my therapist told me that really helped me, and well, I mean, that I think will help me, it hasn't helped me yet,
Yeah,
but I think it will help me, is to make a list of all the things that you really want in a partner that are like deal breakers, that if they don't have these qualities, that you're not going to date this person. And then on the flip side, have a list of things that you absolutely can't live without in a partner or that you words, Julia, words, or that you don't want to deal with in a partner.
gotcha.
And having and if those people have these qualities that you don't want in a partner, then you don't date those people. So like for me, that's drinking. I don't want somebody who's drinking all the time.
Right.
So that's a deal breaker. Nope, we're not dating. You drink all the time. All
Yeah,
right, on to the next one.
gotcha. Yeah, I think making a list and setting your own personal boundaries within that list of these are what I want in a quality partner. These are the things I don't want in a quality partner. Now, granted, some of those things, like you said, you can't kind of pin everybody into a box. Um, I feel like that box is going to be ever growing. Um, a quote, oddly enough, like a D&D quote that I got tattooed on my arm. Life changes, it grows, it continues on. So it's not always going to be like, this one thing is my box and I will not move from this box. It might open up a little bit. It might get a little bit bigger. It might close a little bit. It might have bad experiences. And you look for different things in a partner after certain, experiences. Um, I,
Yeah, definitely.
I think we got to be open with ourselves um, in general, but also be very mindful of being protective with ourselves.
Yes, because you don't want to just completely like box yourself off too. I mean, I guess if that's what fits into your life at the moment, but if you're trying to date somebody, you don't want to completely close yourself off. You want to be able to be open and be vulnerable. And, that plays into, you know, being secure within yourself.
Being secure, but I think even more so where you're kind of might be leading to is like building trust within that relationship. So those
Hmm.
walls start coming down a little bit. Um, Granted, you've been strong, you've been dating uh, in this crazy world that we got going on, and you've built those walls up high. But sooner or later you're going to meet somebody that not brings them down, but you're allowing them to. This is a weird metaphor. You're allowing the gate to be open, so they can kind
Hmm.
of go into that kingdom that you've created. I
Why
don't
is that a
know.
weird metaphor?
I
Were you
well,
thinking dirty in your head?
I was like, well, at first I was gonna say it's a moat, and I was like, well, that's weird, that's dumb. And I was like, a gate, I guess. You just happen to build a gate around your wall. Yeah, I don't know.
Open your gates, guys.
Yeah, just
Open your
open your
gates.
gates.
Open your gate and your relationship will be wonderful. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so once you're in a relationship, though, how do we, like, what are some ways that we can recognize the good things within our partner and not focus so much on the negative things? Because, like we said, everybody brings kind of negative or red flags into a relationship. How do we focus on those green flags and those good qualities rather than focusing on the bad?
Uh, what I like to use is honesty through action. So it's great that you can tell me that you are doing this, you like to do this, you like to do that, um, you're punctual, stuff, little things like that. But if I'm not seeing that action taken, then that might turn into a red flag. So as long as you're honest about it, awesome. But if I'm seeing it as well, then I'm going to care that much more about you because you're putting your actions where your words are.
Yeah.
That the saying? I don't think that's the saying. We're going to make that the saying.
I like that saying. That's a good saying. Yeah, but yeah, I think what you're saying is important. And I think where a lot of relationships fail is that people will be like, yeah, I'll do better, I'll do different. And I see that this bothers you. And then they don't put action to their words. They just continue to do what it is that bothers their partner. But in reality, if you really love somebody, you don't want that person to hurt. You don't want, you want to do things that are going to make them happy, not make them sad.
Yeah,
So whenever somebody does something, like if I say, hey, this bothers me, and then they continue to do it, then that makes me feel unloved. Makes me feel like crap, honestly.
yeah.
So
Like I put my
that's a
trust
good
in
one.
you, and then you kind of didn't respect my trust. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Oh, go ahead.
you got it.
One thing that I like to do to kind of focus on the good in my partner is to journal. So I keep a gratitude journal and I like to write in it probably every morning or every other morning if I'm busy. And when I have a partner, I like to write down a few different things that I'm grateful for that they've done recently or that I just like about them in general. And it keeps me more in a positive mindset than a negative mindset.
That's good. I like that. Just taking notes. Like, how? I guess how does that go for you? Not to get into it too much, but like, what are some uh, template things to use for people in a gratitude journal? I've never heard of it, so I don't know.
You mean like what kind of things do I write?
Yeah.
Like, I'm so grateful that so and so took the time to sit down and talk to me when I was upset today and reassured me that I've been doing really great and I'm a really strong person, something like that.
Gotcha.
Or, so and so bought me flowers today and I'm so grateful for that. Or, stuff like that. Just like, I think that reminding yourself of all the good things your partner does for you keeps you, you know, it keeps you in a headspace of my partner's great and they do a lot of great things for me. It's so easy for us to overlook those things in our partners. And so to keep that at like the front of our mind is important, I think, in a relationship.
Yeah. Yeah. You're acknowledging the good that they have, not just whenever you know something big pops up. Um,
Yeah.
for me, it's little things. So it's the littler things of showing affection, like you know, well, I got to think about this because I'm usually the one that does it. Uh, doing the dishes or something small.
Mhm.
Like it's a mundane task, but it's got to get done. Hey, I did the dishes. You don't have to worry about that tonight. Hey, I cooked you dinner. Or I know you're busy. I did laundry. I folded it. I did all these things. Whatever it is, because your partner's doing other things. The littler things, granted, these are all like around the house things, but they can extend to other things like, I ran out of pre-workout. Hey, I got some for you. Something like that. Um,
Yeah.
those little things, I think, acknowledging not just the big showing of affection and showings of love like flowers and Valentine's Day type celebrations or birthdays, but the little things I think will
Hmm.
bring that gratitude towards a partner.
Yeah, definitely. Little things are great. I think that like when somebody notices things that I don't really notice, like if we're having a conversation and they pick up on something that I didn't really think was a big thing, like my favorite flower or something, and they get me those flowers, or like my
Mm-hmm.
favorite candy or my favorite color, and then they do something with that. That is to me like the attention to detail. I love that stuff.
Yeah,
Like just
yeah.
sweep me off my feet.
Means they're actually caring. They're not just like, okay, okay, like it's not just a spinning hamster up there. It's like, oh no, I actually care what you're talking about right now.
Hmm.
That's good.
Exactly. Yeah.
What's another thing?
I think another good way to really appreciate your partner or show that you appreciate your partner and really focus on the good things is kind of making sure that you compliment them, like giving them, like setting a number in your head of, hey, I want to compliment my partner this amount of times throughout the day, and then doing it and making sure that you follow through with it. Because like I said earlier, it's easy for us to kind of overlook the positives in our partners sometimes
Mm-hmm.
and focus on the negative things. But if we can be like, hey, you look nice today, or hey, I noticed you changed your hair and it looks really cute, or your nails look great. I think those things, it forces us again to really think about good things in our partner.
Yeah, yeah. I've never like set like a number of compliments per day, but I think now that you've said that, it's in the back of my mind of like, if I'm in a committed relationship, then like, yeah, I should show affection, not, but not just in the moments. Like, I should actively be trying to woo my partner, essentially. Like, not
Yeah.
all the time in terms of like, sexually or anything like that, but like, you still have to continue to win your partner over with those little things, those little gestures.
Yeah, and I think setting a number is more like when you notice that you haven't been doing it for a long time. So you
Yeah,
set a number to kind of get into the habit of doing it.
yeah,
I think that's whenever, you set a number.
yeah,
It's kind of like a discipline thing.
yeah. Creates another routine that like is not a negative by any stretch of the imagination. It's just I need to be that partner that's good to them and noticing all their good qualities. Let's see here. What about invisible support?
Invisible support. I think invisible support is important because so many people will make an effort to support their partners on social media or in front of people, but then when it comes time to just like being behind closed doors, they're not there for their partner the way that they should be.
Yep.
Like if they can showboat it, they're like, yes, I'll support my partner, but like really when it's important is those times when your partner comes to you in private and they need that support.
Yeah, those are the most important times. I think
Yeah.
the social media stuff, like, that'll come and go. Like, one day, all the social media, all of this can just, like, get turned off in a blink of an eye. Are you still there for your partner despite their no more social media to get that fame and attention from? Or, whatever uh, community they might have or something like that. Um,
Right.
yeah, you gotta, I think, just in general, being there for your partner as best as humanly possible. We all make mistakes. We all like might slip up. You might say it on social media and then like forget to actually say that thing to them, the same thing in person, and they might take offense to that. So like being on top of that, again, going back to the compliments thing and honesty through actions. Like, hey, you said that on social media. Did you actually mean it? They're like struggling. So you should probably tell them to their face.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's easy for everybody to kind of hide behind a screen because so many of us do it all the time that we're not really there for our partners in everyday life when it's actually important and
Yeah,
needed.
yeah. Sometimes a good hug is required.
Yes, hugs are great. Those are it's great. There's nothing like when you've had a good cry and you're just like super upset and then you just get like one of those bear hugs.
Mm-hmm.
You probably haven't experienced that because you're a man, but
Nope.
for me, that's what I really like. I love that. It just feels so comforting. I don't know.
It's
It's great.
usually a wet shoulder, but yeah, I get what you're saying.
Yeah, so
Hmm.
visible support, I think, is definitely important.
I don't think I've ever heard that term of it, but after seeing it, and I think that makes a ton of sense in terms of like just if you're a good natured person, a lot of this stuff is just like, yeah, duh, that's what you should do. So I think for a lot of people probably listening would be like, oh, there's like terms for these things that we can actually look up and like kind of dive into so you can better yourself as a partner and learn and grow. You know, if you're constantly learning and growing how to be the best partner you can be, I think you're on the right track. If these are new things to you, then stick around and listen a little bit more.
Yeah. I think invisible support is more about wanting to support your partner rather than feeling like you have to do it.
Yeah,
I think that's why it's important.
yeah, yeah. You're choosing to be there for them because you want to be there for them, not like, oh, they made a post, I gotta support, stuff like that.
Exactly.
Yeah, I get that. Let's see. So, what we shouldn't expect um, is knowing that, like, hey, I didn't support my partner on social media or something like that. Um, you shouldn't expect them to, like, see that, and
Your music.
I don't.
Yeah, well, my kids are being loud, so I was just making sure.
Oh,
Okay, go
okay.
ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, you're good.
Sorry.
I had to put my thoughts together, anyways. Um, you didn't do something, or you did do something, and it upset your partner. You shouldn't expect. This goes both ways, obviously. To be have your partner be a mind reader of like, if they said something and it upsets them, I didn't know it upset them. Like you should build that trust over time. Obviously, if you're new to dating that person, you're not going to know instantly. I feel like there should be signs though. Um, but you should be keyed into your partner's emotional needs if something goes awry, I would say.
Yeah. I you should have those little, inklings of my partner's having a hard time, but I definitely think it's important to be aware that you need to communicate your feelings to your partner because like you said, they can't just read your mind. So being able to be like, "Hey, you did this and it upset me. Can we talk about it?" I think that is important in a relationship.
Oh yeah, I mean that goes for when you're getting back out into the dating world, or if you're already in it and you're dating somebody, you should be able to one tell when your partner is upset. I feel like after a very minimal amount of time, you should be able to have that inkling in the back of your head, like, "Ooh, I said something, a situation popped up, and that upset them." Those types of things. Um, and if you're not there, then you should be actively working on that with your partner, asking them how their day was, asking them if this was okay, reinforcing those good things that they've done, that they have accomplished, type things, to make sure that they're in a good headspace, um, or clearing up something that you said. Sometimes there's a miscommunication, especially via text. I've noticed in personal relationships, I can send something in text and mean it in a totally different tone than how
Mhm.
it's perceived.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that is a big issue in relationships is the the misunderstanding through a text message or a DM or a Snapchat versus just pick up the phone or do a FaceTime call
Hmm.
and actually communicate with your partner.
Thank God there's the little voice thing that I had no idea was a voice thing until a while back. I had no idea. That's such a great invention.
Isn't it?
It's so good, and it reminds me of like when you're a kid and we had walkie talkies. That's what it reminds me of. It's kind of cool.
Yeah, and you know what else it's great for is when you are arguing with a partner. This sounds terrible, but it actually is great for when you're arguing with a partner because it forces you to take turns when you talk.
Ooh, Yeah, that's
You
smart.
can't talk over each other. You can't like, you have to take turns when you talk.
You can't keep just like blasting text out and like, and another thing, and this thing.
I mean, you could do that,
I guess you
but
could. Yeah, just fill their entire feed up with no. Yeah,
yeah.
that is a good one. I like that. What else makes good qualities for out there in the dating world, or
I
good
think
qualities?
I think that when couples start kind of like picking at each other's flaws, I think it usually is an indicator of some kind of underlying issue. And this goes back to communication, but I think it's important to make sure that you're figuring out what that deeper issue is.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we tend to like, oh, he did this and I'm so mad about it. So the way he's talking right now is annoying me. Or, like he left his toothbrush out and he knows I hate that. So
Oh God.
whatever. I'm not cooking him dinner tonight. But then that just leads to, oh, she's not cooking me dinner and she's acting weird. Why is that? It just like it kind of instead of creating instead of doing anything, instead of creating a solution to the problem, we're just creating more problems.
Yeah.
And it's like a spiral effect.
Yeah. Spiral. Bleh, bleh, bleh. Snowball spiral effect of just like, oh, one bad thing happens. Well, obviously this will happen too. Well, then they didn't do that, and yeah, yeah, I can totally see how that goes. Um, I think another part of that picking apart character flaws with your in your partner, a lot of the time it's just stuff that you're projecting. I've noticed in past relationships where
Mhm.
um, they might be. This sounds terrible. They might be either questioning what you're doing or questioning why you're doing things, and in actuality, they're the ones that are doing those things. Um, Not to divert it to a negative space, but if you start noticing those things as a good partner, you should ask, "Hey, is everything okay? Like, I didn't, I don't deserve this like attack that I'm getting from you. Why am I getting this? What else is going on? We need to talk about something." Having that open form of communication with your partner to make sure that like everything's good across the board, not just if they start lashing out at you one night because you didn't move the blanket or something. Like what? Like why am I getting attacked for this?
Yeah, but also that could just be, if you're a guy, it could be PMS that you're dealing with in that
That could
instance. So
yeah, that could be a thing too. Yeah.
why
Yeah.
did you look at me with your eyes just
Why
now?
are you breathing? God.
You're breathing too hard.
What?
Um,
What?
um,
That's when we
so I go ahead. What were you saying?
that's when we run to Walgreens and we get chocolates and ice cream and we're like, "Hey, here. I'm going to be in the other room. You okay?"
Have you seen those little like octopus things that have the like reverse? It has like a happy face and then you
Yeah,
can reverse it to the
I've seen
sad face.
those.
Oh, genius.
Yeah.
Genius.
That's those are good.
Don't talk to me. I'm good.
Mhm.
So, as humans, what is something we can do to kind of like when we notice ourselves nitpicking at our partners or constantly not communicating enough or everything is in a negative space? What is something we can do to kind of turn that around?
I think a couple of different things come to mind. First, if you're having an issue with your partner and say it's early on in the relationship, they're relatively new, and if you have a trusted, now I don't want to say like go out to other people for this all the time, but I'm saying like it's new, it's within the first month or something like that. You're starting to vibe very well, but things are a little wishy-washy. I think having a good trusted friend group around you to like say, "Hey, have you ever experienced this with your partner?" or something like that is a good tool in your toolbox to use to help um, see the bigger picture.
Hmm.
Especially if you have like married friends. Um, I know that's like you can't just like go out and find married friends, I guess. But if you happen to have married friends, ask them these questions like, hey, have you ever experienced this with your partner? Oh, you have? How did you deal with it? Oh, okay.
Hmm.
Get some insight from that stuff. And then, honestly, the other one is just to start talking to your partner openly and candidly. I think a lot of the times we find things start happening in a negative connotation because people hold stuff back. They want to kind of play
Hmm.
things close to the chest. Either they want to kind of put on a front because they want to impress the partner still, um, and they're not true to actually who they are. And when they actually have things like not line up anymore because their true self is showing, that's
Hmm.
when those problems start happening.
Yeah. Whenever people kind of hold back in fear of being too clingy or too much for the other person.
Mm-hmm.
But again, I think that kind of creates a spiral effect of things.
Yeah, yeah. There's a couple sources saying like, not I hope none of you have to deal with this, but when you deal with a somebody that puts on a front or a narcissistic type relationship, it's like that 3 month window of like they can probably hold that line for about 3 months, and then
Hmm.
it'll start to fall off, and you'll see the real them. Then it's obviously on you to see like, oh, that's the real you. Do I stick around?
Hmm.
Um, I think being educated within the modern dating world, reading some books on different from different people about dating. Words are hard. Um, Listening to podcasts, experiencing it is one thing, but if you are just going into it blindly and not taking anything out of it and not like retaining information and learning lessons, then you need to kind of check yourself a little bit and be secure within yourself before you go back out there.
Hmm. Yeah. I think also too, I think something we can do as far as like longer relationships, if you've been in a relationship for a long time and you're getting to the point where you're nitpicking your partner, I think there's two things you can do that are important. Number one, I think therapy for everybody is important. I think
Mm-hmm.
even when you have a good, solid relationship and you're not having issues, I think therapy is a great thing to do once a month or every other month or something like that. Just because I think it kind of puts perspective and it forces us to talk when we don't want to talk, and it gives us a safe place to do that. And I also think that getting back to the basics of your relationship, maybe going on making dating each other a priority. Sometimes we get to a point where we're not really dating our partners anymore. We've gotten into a routine and we stick to that routine and we don't make
Your
like,
roommates again all of a sudden.
yeah, your roommates, you're not really dating each other or making each other a priority and not making romance a
Yeah.
priority. And I think that's a fault in a lot of people's relationships because you got to keep that romance alive.
Romance is a huge factor and usually a telling sign of like when things are going south for a relationship. A couple things to look out for when romance starts going down, and then um, shoot, I just lost it. Wow. Um, I'll stick with romance because I just apparently just lost it out of nowhere. Um, when romance starts going down and you can tell that like things are, you're both very agitated by certain actions, you're kind of on walking on eggshells. You got to kind of win your partner back. Um,
Yeah.
you got to, woo your partner again. Go out there
Yeah.
and do it.
One thing I think is such a cute idea, and I've never done it, but I've always wanted to do it. What would be like kind of going out by yourself and your partner going out and you guys go to the same restaurant and then you guys kind of pretend meet and like, hey, so and so, and kind of
Yeah,
like do a first date kind of thing together where
like
you kind of get to know each other again.
yeah, like you actively try to pick your partner up again.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's pretty cute. I like that idea. That's a good one. Um,
Yeah.
I think where was I gonna go? Oh, um, I remember what I was gonna say. If you're on the end of say you're having to apologize for a lot of actions not taken or taken, that's a good indicator of like, oh, okay, like the relationship's kind of on death's door at that point. So
Mhm.
you and your partner need to take a hard look at it of like, hey, it's not going how we thought it was going to go. We need to fix this. Or, like you mentioned previously, it might not be working out for both of us. There's no blame to take. Maybe it's best we go our separate ways. I think
Yeah.
as a partner and as somebody dating in this world, you have to take that into account as well.
Hmm.
But we
Yep.
want you to find people. I'm not trying to pull it to the negative all the time. We want you to
Maybe we
find
should be called the
the
pessimistic
pessimistic
dating
podcast. Yeah,
daters.
yeah, I know. That one
Hey,
just popped up.
dating's hard,
It is
okay?
hard. You got to look out for yourself some of those times though. Um, and I just, from personal experience, when things start popping that way, it's kind of that split, not split decision, but it's like that game time decision of like, okay, well, we could fix this, but we have to do the work to fix it. And a lot of
Hmm.
people are not willing to do that work anymore, is the unfortunate, thing that we have to deal with. So if you
Yeah.
find somebody that you're like, okay, we need to do this, let's go on a date. Let's go do this thing. You want to go to that festival? Hell yeah, we're going to that festival. Stuff like that.
Yep. Making your partner a priority. If you are going to get into a relationship, you need to make sure that you're ready to do what it takes to make it work.
Yeah.
I mean, if you love your partner.
Yeah, if you're serious about dating to find that certain someone, you need to be, you know,
I think that was more of like if you decide to marry this person, you need to be ready to do what it takes.
a little bit.
Dating is dating. Dating is for, figuring out what it is that you want
Yeah.
and um, you finding that person you want to spend forever with.
Dating is for learning the qualities that you want to either take or not take to that person that is your forever person. So use
Yep.
the dating pool, but don't abuse it, I guess.
Yeah. I think um just to kind of wrap this up, I think that basically it is important to make your partner a priority and to see the good things in your partner because like we've said, everybody has flaws. Everybody has things about them. I'm not perfect. Sam's not perfect. Y'all aren't perfect.
Far from it.
We all have flaws, but somebody out there is going to love us despite those flaws. But I would still, me personally, would like for somebody to notice the good things about me rather than focused on the bad things.
Hmm. And if somebody's focusing on the bad things on you, that's how do I want to put this? That's a reflection on them, not you. That's something that they got to deal with internally. So again, you need to be prepared and ready for the dating world. You can't go out there just willy nilly because people can potentially get hurt from your actions if you aren't fully prepared to go out there and provide what people are expecting to get provided. Provided? Yeah, kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Goes back to that age-old tale. Treat others how you would like to be treated.
it's almost like it's a golden rule or something, and people just
What?
don't do it.
Crazy.
I know. It's just so crazy. It's almost
All
like
right, guys. It's what? It's
it's
almost like what?
it's almost like if you have human decency, you're fine.
Yeah, well, we would like to think that's the case.
Okay, Dad.
Even when you try to be nice sometimes, it ends up
Mm,
not being, you end up being the bad guy
that's fair.
anyway.
That's fair.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, I think that's going to do it for today's episode. If you liked this episode, please like, subscribe, comment, tell us what you liked about this podcast down below. And if you're on Apple Podcasts, I think is the one that you can leave a review on, right? And
App,
Spotify?
Apple, you can leave a review, and then Spotify, you can leave a rating, like a 5-star rating.
Okay.
Yep.
So leave a rating, leave a review, tell us what you think. We want to hear it all. And that's it for today, guys. We'll catch you on the next one. Flip side. Bye, guys.
Bye.